You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. A lot of very sensitive body parts, both bovine and human, are going to be mentioned in this installment of the podcast. And some of them, the bovine ones, may not be around much longer.
We have a new cow, except that it is like the biggest friggin' bull I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, it was bound to happen, wasn't it?
We've named him Bullwinkle. He's literally the size of an elephant. Even Frankie agrees. This is no exaggeration. This is the hugest freaking bull. He doesn't have any horns, but man, he's got tether balls, volleyballs. He has the hugest set of balls I've ever seen in my life. And he's bigger than my car, if that gives you some kind of perception.
When are you going to get those things out of there?
We can't do anything. It's an Arizona law. We're free range, whether we like it or not. The only thing we can do
is fence.
Fence, and very expensive, because if we use cheap fence, they're just going to walk right over it.
How about electric fence?
No, I would electrocute myself on a regular basis.
Oh.
Have you met me?
Well, couldn't you just do part of it electric, like the part where they're coming across?
Well, no, because they're coming across in our super secret VIP camping space on the end of the back 40.
Which has ruined that, I'm sure, because it's all covered with cow patties now.
Yeah. Yep. And then the child found some mushrooms growing out of a cow patty and got all excited.
I don't think you should just eat random mushrooms that grow out of cow patties. That sounds like a great way to get on the liver transplant waiting list.
She took a picture and sent it to a friend who said no. But they do make good fertilizer. When I get use of my right hand back, I'm definitely going to put up a video of Frankie chasing this bull out towards a neighbor's house. It's so funny.
Does he put like little fingers on his head like they're horns? Like little index finger horns?
You know what? All I've done is hear him, as the bull just popped up yesterday, so to speak. So this morning I heard him, and he's like making his voice really low to sound like, I don't know.
Bull boss.
Yeah, like he's gonna make jerky out of him or something.
Well, that is what's gonna happen to him eventually. And then I understand that the balls themselves are a delicacy.
Frankie said, my new expert on all things bull and heiferdom, that the ones that they use for the jerky are old and they don't have balls, but we do not know that for sure.
Yeah, and I think you guys are relying on the internet way too much.
Tell me about it.
The internet is good for some things, but as concerns actual cattle know-how, you may want to consult your neighborhood extension service. Yes.
I don't know. You could be looking this up on WebMD. Who knows? Speaking of the computer.
Yes.
We have discussed this before, but I am going to reiterate. There is definitely little elves living inside my computer that know when I've had surgery to entice me to buy crap that I don't want or don't need, but I'm on drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know how they know. But
if you weren't on drugs, you could probably figure out how they know.
That damn Jeeves.
No.
It's Jeeves.
God lives in your computer, Jeeves. This is what I've learned about myself. There seems to be a generational divide between what people think is public and worthy of print or discussion and what I think is worthy of print or discussion.
I think that's ongoing.
For example, when somebody introduces someone who's leading, let's say, a lecture, a little icebreaker that he asks for your name and what language you studied in high school, which I think is a weird effing icebreaker.
It's really weird.
To begin with, that kind of thing.
I studied Pig Latin.
There you go. That would have gone over well. And then if somebody points out, oh, you overlooked somebody sitting here, our generation would say, oh, I know that person. That's Ali, my friend or my companion or my husband or my boyfriend or whatever. But you wouldn't say, oh, I know that person. That's Ali, my gay lover. Like, what? Why do I need to know your bedroom affiliation. I mean,
But what's the difference in saying my boyfriend?
Well, because that doesn't refer specifically to the intimate act. That just tells us the nature of your relationship.
Well, what if you just love somebody?
Well, then you
And
would
they're your
say,
lover.
this is my amour. This is my companion, my life companion, my fiance, my husband.
I call my husband Lovey all the time.
That's not the same. You
He's
wouldn't
my Lovey.
you wouldn't introduce Frankie as, hi, this is Frankie. He's my bed partner.
Maybe I would.
I don't know.
I haven't thought of it
I
that
think
way.
there you go. That's right. We don't think of it. Bingo. Exactly.
I don't know. I don't have any trouble with
I don't need to hear
straight
like
lover.
I don't need to hear if there's straight lover. It's just weird. It's like this is the person I boink. I just don't need to. Why do I care? And why should I know? And what's your point? So
I think we should talk about synonyms for boink.
we could, but let's
There's a
go
lot
on
of
to the
them.
next thing. So now the
Okay.
New York Magazine, in which I
Yes.
took a subscription, has this series of makes you want to vomit sex diaries.
Didn't you ever read Letters to Penthouse when you were like in your teens? Or sneak a peek at a freaking Hustler magazine?
Okay, so here's my point. That was Penthouse. That was Hustler. That wasn't New York Magazine.
Well, it
it's
sounds
not-
like an issue between you and New York Magazine.
Yes, it's not again, my same issue, not the appropriate venue. There's a
Well, you
place
just tear out those pages.
it's sticking it because I have a subscription. They're sticking it in my feed. And after like the
You
fourth
don't have to read it.
time, I won't. I'm about ready to not read their whole damn magazine. But it's really weird because it makes women look as crass and awful. He's a nice guy, but is too small. So I'm not going to see him again. I'm thinking it's back to the same thing of we can be just as horrible as men. And I
It's
think
true.
this weird conversation.
We can be worse.
We can be, but doesn't everybody already know that?
Well, yeah, but you don't have to read it. Back to my original
Well, I'm not going
First
to.
Amendment freedom of speech.
That's right. But I
Um,
subscribe to the magazine. And so this is what and on what basis, back to your point about the elves and the computer, on what basis do they think I subscribe to New York Magazine, presumably a magazine about rents and life and people you meet on the street? And why would I want to hear about a woman who doesn't want to go on a third date with a guy she's been sleeping with for a solid week because his is too small? It just doesn't.
His unit.
Yeah, I just don't need to.
I have a scathingly brilliant idea.
It would be okay to use
Why
your
don't
analogy.
you- Why don't you,
yes.
Turi Ryder,
Yes.
write them a letter and let them know how you feel?
No, they won't care how I feel. That they're not going after.
They'll
my
care if you cancel your
demographic.
subscription,
There you go. That's what will when I cancel it.
but you have to let them know why,
I will tell
because
them.
otherwise they won't know
I will
that
tell them.
Turi Ryder, sitting up in her attic in Chicago, Illinois,
Doesn't care that
doesn't-
somebody is too small.
about sex toys.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yes.
if you would like to pass this on as you write your letter, I have so many emails on how to make that bigger.
That's what we need to send her. It's so boring. I'm feeling really hot and I want a guy with a bigger. So I'm going to go to this bar and check out the crop. You wonder if she's going to ask them to take their pants off at the bar? How does this even work? It's so
I
boring
thought we were
and so
beyond that. I
stupid.
thought people don't do that in bars anymore.
They do. And according
They look
to
on Tinder.
New York
Swipe
Magazine.
right, swipe right.
Yeah, there's that too. But if you want to pick out the guy by looks right then and there, that's how you do
Yeah.
it. It's the worst of men plus the worst of women. Oh, it looks like he's
True.
very successful and has a lot of money, which I don't think guys, when they just want to get laid, are particularly necessarily
No.
caring about. That's a
They
different
lay like
agenda.
rugs, and so do women. Everyone lies like
Right,
rugs.
but
on
now
these things.
women add an extra layer of ugliness onto this.
I don't think that the majority of women choose a partner based on that.
I'm starting to wonder.
But my husband's really cute. Can I add that in there?
I'm just starting to wonder, is the solution to men being ugly that women are uglier? Did we learn nothing in the last?
No, we have not learned anything.
Oh, my God.
Nothing. I mean,
Ugh.
women are body shamed. The actresses are routinely body shamed on Instagram and on,
So
online.
this is New York Magazine's response. This is, we're noticing your gut. We're noticing your flabby chest. We're noticing your unit. This is another version of saying every awful, ugly thing that comes through your head.
It's biblical, a gut for a gut. I don't know.
Yeah, it's biblical, a gut for a gut.
But I'm just going to go back to my scathingly brilliant advice and just cancel it, because some people might like to read it and just shake their heads and say morons. Me, myself, I don't like reading that stuff. I don't like seeing half the stuff that goes on Facebook, because I think that people's innermost thoughts belong in their brains and not out in public.
Oh, yes, you've just reminded me of something else.
Yay.
Well, because my brain is kind of a sieve, but you've just reminded me. So this all-night study event that I went to, I've learned something. Anything that is a discussion, I'm not going to. If I pick out the lecturer, I'm prepared for her or for him to be interesting, challenging, boring. But I expect that if they're professional and they're lecturing, they will have something to say that's useful. But I really don't want to hear from most of my fellow human beings. That's the conclusion I've drawn. Anything that says
concluded that
discussion,
a long time ago.
If it says discussion, I want nothing to do with it.
I don't want to even be around any group bigger than 4.
I think that's a good idea. It's like when I go to the theater and they say, now we're after, stay after, please stay after. We'll have a discussion with the playwright. I don't want a discussion with the playwright. No. I don't want any discussion at all. I either want to make a decision and have it be right or have it be wrong, or I want to talk to one or two other. I no longer wish to hear any discussion.
This is like something new on TV, I think, that has to do with streaming. A number of shows that we watch invite us to afterwards watch somebody's deep thoughts about that episode. And now we have been watching on Amazon Prime, The Citadel, which is really good, by the way. But every time after this show, there's another show that supposedly explains to you what you just saw, because you're not intelligent enough to know what really happened. Does that make sense?
Well, I understand what you're saying, but you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
I just find these behind the scenes TV shows it implies that we're all idiots.
Which is my take on discussion groups and book clubs and all the things I've just sworn to myself I am not going to do again.
I'm so with you. But I'm going to tell you about this other machine that I went home from my surgery with. And it goes on right where the bone is that hasn't healed.
Yeah.
Okay. On my wrist.
This is the bone growth stimulator.
Yes. And it looks like a tether that they put on your leg when you've been naughty and you're not supposed to leave your house.
Criminal home monitoring bracelet. Yes.
I have to wear this on my wrist for 3 hours a day. But I think anytime I have to go to the grocery store or go in town, I'm going to put it around my ankle.
Oh,
and then when people look at me, I'm just going to go and scare everybody.
I wish that I believed that either one of us had enough moxie to actually do that.
I'm gonna. I'll have the child take a picture.
You're really not.
I am.
All right, I'm waiting for that picture of you at the Walmart with the bone intensifier around your ankle.
Around my ankle. It looks just like one, dude. But I did hear from somebody that has used it successfully with a broken ankle.
Oh, good.
So I'm optimistic. We'll see.
Pity that person with the broken ankle who actually had to wear that.
She had to wear it. I just thought of that.
That poor woman. See? It could have been worse. Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.